You are sitting in your car. The engine is off. Your hands are on the steering wheel. Red and blue lights are flashing behind you. The officer has your license. You are trying to stay calm. Then he asks the question most people are not ready for. Mind if I take a look inside? It sounds simple, almost casual, almost polite. But this is where the biggest myth about police searches begins. Most people think if police ask to search, they must already have the right to search. That is wrong. Sometimes, they are not telling you they can search. They are asking you to give them permission. And that changes everything. Because once you say yes, you may have just opened the door yourself. Not because they forced it. Not because they had a warrant. But because you agreed. That is the trap. The biggest myth about police searches is this. People confuse a request with an order. An officer may say, "Can I search your car? Can I look in your bag? Can I check your phone? Can I come inside?" And, because the person is scared, they say yes. Not because they want to, but because they think saying no makes them look guilty. That is the fear police count on. They may say, "If you have nothing to hide, what is the problem?" That sentence sounds powerful, but it is not the law. Having privacy does not mean you are hiding a crime. Wanting boundaries does not mean you are guilty. You can be respectful and still say no. The words are simple. I do not consent to a search. That is it. Do not argue. Do not explain. Do not get emotional. Just say it clearly. I do not consent to a search. Now understand this carefully. This does not mean police can never search. If they have a warrant, that is different. If they see something illegal in plain view, that is different. If they have probable cause, that may be different. If you are arrested, some searches may be allowed. So do not act like this sentence is magic. It is not. But it protects one thing. It protects you from giving away permission. And many people lose because they give permission without understanding it. Imagine this. You are pulled over for a broken taillight. The officer asks where you are going. You answer. He asks where you are coming from. You answer again. Then he looks through the window. He sees a backpack, a jacket, maybe a closed console. Then he says, "You got anything illegal in the car?" You say no. Then he says, "Then you do not mind if I search, right?" That is the moment. Your heart speeds up. You feel trapped. You think, if I say no, he will think I am hiding something. So you say, "Sure." And now the search begins. The trunk opens. The glove box opens. The bag opens. Everything changes. And later you may say, "I only said yes because I felt pressured." But the report may say something much simpler. Driver gave consent. That is why your words matter. Your calm matters. Your clarity matters. The better answer is not rude. It is not dramatic. It is not aggressive. It is this. "Officer, I do not consent to a search." If he asks why, do not debate. I do not consent to a search. If he keeps pushing, ask one question. Am I free to go? If he says yes, leave calmly. If he says no, you are being detained. Then talk less. Say, I am exercising my right to remain silent. Then stop explaining. Because the roadside is not a courtroom. You do not win there by arguing. You win by staying calm, staying safe, and not giving away your rights. Now think about your house. If police come to your door and ask to look around, do not panic. Do not invite them in just because they sound friendly. Your home is private. Your room is private. Your drawers are private. Your life is private. If they ask to enter, you can say, I do not consent to a search. If they have a warrant, ask to see it. Do not fight. Do not block them. Do not touch them. Just stay calm. Read what you can. Then remain silent and contact a lawyer. Because if the search is illegal, that fight happens later, not at the door. Not with shouting, not with your hands moving. Later, with records, with facts, with legal help. Now your phone. This is even more serious. Your phone is not just a phone. It is your messages, your photos, your bank, your location, your private searches, your whole life. So if an officer asks you to unlock it, do not casually hand over everything. Do not scroll for them. Do not try to prove innocence. Say, I do not consent to a search of my phone. If they take the phone, do not fight, but do not unlock it just because you feel nervous. That nervous feeling is exactly how people surrender. Here is the truth. Most people do not lose because they know nothing. They lose because they panic in one moment. They try to be nice. They try to look innocent. They talk too much. They agree too fast. They think saying yes will make the problem go away. But sometimes, saying yes creates the problem. So remember the rule. Be respectful. Keep your hands visible. Do not lie. Do not run. Do not resist. But do not consent. There is a difference between obeying a lawful command and giving permission for a search. If the officer says, "Step out of the car," stay calm, and follow lawful instructions. But if the officer says, "Can I search?" that may be a request, and a request can be refused. The sentence is boring, but powerful. I do not consent to a search. Say it once, say it clearly, then stop talking. Because privacy is not guilt. Silence is not confession. Refusing consent is not resisting. And a request is not always an order. That is the myth most people learn too late. They learn it after the car is searched, after the bag is opened, after the phone is unlocked, after the report is written. Do not learn it then. Learn it before the lights appear behind you. Because when that moment comes, fear will tell you to explain. Pressure will tell you to agree. Your instincts will tell you to prove yourself. But the smartest thing you can do is stay calm, protect your rights, and remember the one sentence most people forget. I do not consent to a search. Subscribe because one sentence can protect you before one mistake changes everything.